Today I'm gonna show you my homemade radioactive material container. It consists of a LED box which has a lid on the top from which we can insert all the material we can store. As you can see here, there's a lid. To avoid accidental opening, I installed one of these latches. On the back side there's also a metal hinge like this one that I'm showing, so that the lid can be opened but remain attached to the main body. And this part is just to carry it, but the weight of this box, it's a little bit too high to carry like this. I installed it with some nail on the side and now it's there. So to open it, we just unlatch it. After taking this off, the lid can be opened. As you can see, the thickness is 20 millimeters. We will see later how I calculated this thickness based on the activity of the material. Inside we have obviously the material we want to store, and as you can see, it is inside a thicker box. So this wall here is 10 millimeters in thickness, and it avoids radiation from leaking in between the lid and the main body of the box. And here the thickness increases to 20 millimeters, like in every other place of this box, to avoid the radiation from exiting. Here I have a Geiger counter that has been on for some minutes, and as you can see, the level is stable at the background. That is 0.14 microsievert per hour here. But if I put my Geiger on the opening, it starts increasing because of the radioactive material, that is simple rock that I found in the woods. This probably contains some uraninite, and I decided to build this box to store it safely. As you can see, the level has already increased due to the uranium and radium inside this rock. But if I put it back inside and close the lid, put the Geiger counter on top, you can see that the level returns to background pretty fast. So now almost no radiation is escaping from the box. As you can see, the level is around 0.17, 0.20 microsievert per hour. And this level is constant all around the box, also on the side and also underneath it. Looking on the side under the box, we can see these 4 screws that protrude from the box. They are here just to keep the box level, so I can adjust it, turn it a little bit to avoid it from rattling around. And they were made just by drilling, tapping inside the lead and then screwing a short screw inside. On the front we can see a pretty cool radioactive sign that tells you what's the content of this box. So this is the description of this box, and now we'll see how it was made. So to make this we will obviously need a lot of lead, because it's pretty heavy, and it's almost this entire block made of lead. So to make this box, we first need to know what we want to store. Here we can use a lot of useful tools for radiation stuff, like calculating shielding, exposure, and all sort of stuff. But now we are only going to calculate the shielding. So here we can choose the type of isotope, because we want to shield for natural uranium. The choice is uranium-238. As you can see here, it includes also the daughter isotopes. So, for example, if we measure 1.4 microsievert per hour close to the sample and we want to go to like 0.2 microsievert per hour and use lead as a shielding material, the calculators tells us we need 2 centimeters of lead. The reason for this thickness is that uranium-238 has a really high number of decay products, as you can see here, and some of them also emits gamma. If it were only beta and alpha, we would need a very thin thickness to shield it. This is the gamma spectrum of natural occurring uranium, and as you can see, the energy in kilo-electron-volt on the x-axis goes up to 1700 for bismuth 214. All of this energy cannot be shielded with a thin layer of lead, and that's the reason why we need that thickness of lead. Here you can see how the transmission through a thick layer of lead varies with energy and with thickness of the lead itself. As you can see, with 200 and 400 kilo-electron-volt gamma energy, only 1.8 centimeters of lead is enough to stop almost all the gamma rays passing, but with higher energy, higher thickness is needed. So 2 centimeters is a good compromise between availability of material, transmission of gamma energy, and also weight of the box itself, so that it can be transported easily. Where I live, buying lead online is pretty expensive, so I had to find another way and source it locally. The two main places where lead can be found is on top of all the roof, because it was used to seal the ceiling windows, and also inside all bathroom, as it was used for plumbing. So I was really lucky to gather some of this lead from an abandoned house, and after that I started smelting it on top of a camping stove, and using just an old pan I had lying around. In the meantime, I prepared the mold where I could pour the molten lead. It was simply done using some plaster and also a copy of the lid. In this case you can see the mold for the lid of the box that I 3D printed and inserted in the plaster while it was still wet, so the plaster formed the negative for the lid. Now I'm pouring inside of it the molten lead, and then we'll wait for it to solidify. After the lead has become hard, we can just crack the mold and then pop off our newly made ingot of lead. In this case this was the lid of the box. After this I made the second mold. This time you can see on the right that I used a more complicated positive for the box, and then made the usual plaster mold. Now I'm trying to heat the molder with a torch so that it doesn't contain any moisture. And now I'm pouring the lead. Here you will see why it is extremely important to make sure that the mold is dry and doesn't contain any moisture at all. Right after I poured the molten lead, it started bubbling. That is due to the trapped moisture inside of the mold that is escaping, because the hot lead make the water evaporates, and so this is the mess that was made. This bubbling continued for some time, and after some minutes the lead started solidifying and the bubble disappeared. The final result was better than what I was expecting, because beside the top part that you can see here, all the sides came out pretty well. I was able to crush the mold, as you can see in the video, and everything was pretty straight. And then I needed to take out the plaster that was still inside of the LED box. As you can see from the speed of the video, it was a really hard and long job, because every little corner was stuck pretty well to the LED, but in the end I could take out the most part of the plaster. This is the final result of this step. As you can see, it turned out pretty well. I filed it on some side, and then I proceeded to drill the hole for the filter. This was a really hard job, because as you can see from the video, the drill bit kept getting stuck inside of the soft LED. I don't know if the problem was the speed at which I was drilling or something else, but as you can see, I tried many times. I finally was able to drill it using some coolant. After that, I tapped the hole for the screw, and finally this is the result. As you can see, it stays level. After this, I also used the hinge and the latch. They was put in place using some nails and some screws that fit snugly inside of the soft LED. So this is the final result. The box can contain a pretty good amount of material. It can eliminate almost every low energy gamma, all type of energy of beta and alpha rays. So it can be used to store all of the common isotopes like americium 241, radium, cesium, and also uranium, as you saw in the video. And it attenuates the high energy gamma, like 1000 kilo electron volts, by 75% or more, and that's a pretty high reduction in absorbed dose on the outside. So if you have any other question, you can put it in the comments, and see you next time.